Hello everyone, so in this moment I'm gonna show you how to install VS Code and Workbench in Mac OS. So in order to run PHP, you're gonna install right here. I use VS Code, so you're gonna install VS Code. Then I'm gonna click this. Then Mac OS you can install right here, but I have installed already. So if you don't have VS Code, you can download for Mac OS right here. And another step that I'm going to show you how to install Workbench for my actual. So I'm going to say my actual right here. Then you're going to click my actual official page and go to download. Then you're going to navigate to my actual community right here. And then you're going to click my actual Workbench. So I'm going to click this. And then you're gonna click if you use Mac OS for M1 to M5, you're gonna click download right here. And for you use Mac OS Intel chip, you can install right here. But I use Mac OS M5, so I'm gonna click download right here. And then you can log in or sign up. But if you don't log in or sign up, you can no sign. Just start my download right here. So it will download right here. So you just wait a minute. Okay, after I have download already, so then I'm gonna go to download. Then you're gonna double click right here. And then you can drag and drop right here. Drag and drop to application. But I have download Workbench for my actual already, so I don't need to drag and drop again. But if you don't have, you can just put right here, then everything gonna be fine. So I don't need. I can close this. So I hope you understand about this. And then you can go to this is my Workbench right here, and my actual, and my VS Code right here. I have installed already. Okay, the next step that I'm going to show you is how to install a PHP package and my actual in Homebrew. So I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to install Homebrew. And then you can say how to. Then I can say how to install Homebrew. Into MacBook, and then install how to install PHP my actual through Homebrew. Okay, then you can go to application, and then I'm gonna search terminal right here. Okay, and then you're gonna copy this, run Homebrew install. You're gonna copy this and paste this. But I have installed already, so I don't need to install again. But if you don't have Homebrew, you can install and press enter. That's it. And then you're gonna check version right here. Brew version right here. This is my Homebrew version 5.0.16. So I hope you understand about it. Then you're gonna install PHP. So right here, you're gonna copy this, and then you're gonna paste in terminal, and then you're gonna press enter. But I have installed PHP package already, so I don't need. Then I can check version PHP dash version. This is gonna be version V. You see my version PHP 8.3.28. So I have installed PHP through Homebrew package. And the next step is you're going to install MySQL right here. You're going to install MySQL right here. But I have installed MySQL in my package in Homebrew already, so I don't need to install again. Then you're going to check version right here. MySQL and version. You're going to copy this and check version. You see, MySQL version 9.6.0. And you're going to start services. You're going to start MySQL services right here. So right now, MySQL already started. Then you're going to open Workbench right here. Okay. And then you're going to click local instance right here. Then you're going to enter password. I have a password in installation through Homebrew. Then I'm going to click OK. So then this is my DB, so in MySQL. But if you don't know how to set a password, so you can install this right here, MySQL secure installation right here. I'm going to show you. You can click this. You're going to paste this. Then you're going to reset all MySQL DB. So I'm going to show you again. So I'm going to press enter. Then you're going to enter password for root. So this is going to be password for root. So this is your macOS password when you to use macOS. So I just enter my password. So the next step is press yes for. So would you like to set up validate password component? So I don't need to set up password. So I say I press enter. So and they using existing password for root. I can say yeah right here, and new password, and then password. Remove, yeah, you're gonna say yeah, remove anonymous user. You can say Y means yes, and press enter. Disallow root login remotely. You're gonna enter. You're gonna type Y and then press enter. Okay, and remove TextDB. You're gonna say Y and press enter. Reload privilege table row. So this is gonna be yes, and press enter. Okay, everything gonna be fine. Then you have set DB already. So then you can go to my actual, or we can say Workbench, and then enter your password. You can create DB right here. So I can create test DB. Then I gonna click apply, close. So you see, I have created my DB, test DB already. This is easy step to set up. Okay everyone, so in this moment I'm gonna show you how to install VS Code and XAMPP for run PHP code. So I'm gonna type VS Code right here. So you're gonna go to official page, and then you're gonna install download for Windows. So I have download already. So if you don't have VS Code, you can download right here. You can click right here, and then you're gonna install when you download already. So I had this, so I don't need to install again. And the next step that you're gonna do is you go to XAMPP. I can say XAMPP right here. And you're gonna go to official page XAMPP right here. And then you're gonna click XAMPP for Windows. So I'm gonna click this. So it will download right here. It's done. So I'm gonna close all of this. Then I'm gonna go to my folder, download right here. So I'm gonna double click this. Then I'm gonna click next. Next, this is a folder, so I store in dry C right here, Sam. I'm gonna click next, and next. So it will install soon. So after you have installed already, so you're gonna click finish. Okay, then I'm gonna go to dry C right here. Then you're gonna click XAMPP and 80 docs. Then I'm gonna create a folder, a project folder right here. So I'm gonna name PHP project. Then I'm gonna close this. Okay, it will start service in XAMPP. So I'm gonna click Start Apache and start my actual. Then I'm gonna click admin. So this is my actual admin. So I don't need to use my actual. So I will use when I connect with a PHP. So right now I'm gonna go to VS Code. I'm gonna minimize this. Then I'm gonna go to VS Code right here. Then I can open a folder. It's stored in dry C right here and click XAMPP 80 doc and click PHP project right here. Then I'm gonna create a file named index.php. Then I'm gonna echo in a web browser, then PHP echo. So then I'm gonna go to terminal, new terminal. I'm gonna close AI this. So I'm gonna type PHP dash s localhost 8000. Then I'm gonna click localhost 8000. Then it will show PHP right here. Hello world. So this is for setup VS Code and XAMPP. So XAMPP include my actual PHP and server. So this is a full package of using XAMPP. Okay everyone, today I'm going to show you a little bit about what is PHP. So PHP is a hypertext preprocessor server-side programming language used to create dynamic websites, work with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and database. Okay guys, in this moment I'm going to show you about PHP syntax, and the second is I'm going to show you about echo and print, and the third that I'm going to show you is how to comment in PHP. So right now I'm going to show you about PHP syntax. So I'm gonna add angle brace question mark, then PHP, then I'm gonna close question mark, close angle braces. This is we call PHP syntax right here. PHP syntax right here. So then I'm gonna show you about how to echo in PHP. So I'm gonna create a variable of string. So this is name equal to my name Phanit right here. Okay, then I'm gonna echo my name is $sign and then name right here. So in order to output in web browser, so I'm gonna go to terminal, new terminal. Then I'm gonna add a PHP dash s, and then I'm gonna say localhost 8000 right here. So I'm gonna click this. I'm gonna click command, and then I'm gonna click this. So it will show. So I'm gonna zoom in right here. So my name is Phanit. So this is we call echo in PHP. So then I'm gonna show you how to command. So in PHP we have two ways to command. So the first way is single command. So I'm gonna show you. This is we call single command right here. Single command. Okay, and another is we call multi-line command. So I'm gonna show you right here. Slash, then star, and then I'm gonna close star and slash. This is we call multi-line command. So multi-line command mean we wanna command all the code in a file, and also we gonna command a block of code that we want that we don't want to see in the web browser or the output, something like that. So I hope you understand about this. Okay guys, in this moment I'm gonna show you about variables and data types in PHP. So variables is a container that store data such as name, number, and etc. So there are three rules in creating variable. So the first rule is we're gonna must start with $sign, and the second is must start with letter or underscore, and the third is cannot start with number. So this is the three rules that we're gonna follow to create a variable in PHP. Okay, right now I'm gonna talk about data types. So there are 8 data types in PHP. So I'm gonna show you each of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm gonna forget to add more. So this is we call resource. Right here. So okay, so right now I'm gonna show you about string right here. So I'm gonna create an example for you to understand. So I'm gonna add $sign, the name, then I'm gonna add my name Phanit right here. So I'm gonna echo number. This is number. So sorry, this is name, not number. I'm gonna change this right here. So I'm gonna refresh in web browser right here. Okay, you see Phanit. This is we call string. So right now I'm gonna show you about integer. So integer, I'm gonna create variable that say number equal to 10. This is the integer. So I'm gonna echo $sign, then number right here. Okay, so I'm gonna go to web browser and then I'm gonna refresh. You see 10. So I'm gonna add BO. Okay, all right. So right now I'm gonna show you about float, how to create a variable in float. So we use the same. This is called float right here. And then I'm gonna add 5. Okay, then I'm gonna echo this is $sign float right here. Then I'm gonna add BO. I'm gonna copy this, and this is a number right here. So I'm gonna go to web browser, then I'm gonna refresh. So this is float. And the next is boolean true or false. So I'm gonna create a boolean true or false. Is car fall right here, and then $sign is cat true, something like that. So then I'm gonna echo this is boolean. I'm gonna add is car right here, echo something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go to web browser, then I'm gonna refresh. This is boolean, this is false, and if I add this is cat, it will show 1. So 1 is true, and the 0 we're gonna say false, so it is not output in false, and it is true without the web browser show 1. So this is called a boolean. So the next step is I'm gonna show you about array. So I'm gonna create a variable array, something like that. Array in equal to angle braces, and I'm gonna create array of strings. So I can say red, blue, and then I'm gonna add yellow, something like that. So I gonna output echo this is $sign array. Then I gonna add index array, index of 0 right here. Okay, so this is we call index 0 1 2. So I gonna output red, so I gonna add 0. If you're gonna output blue, you're gonna add 1, something like that. So I gonna show you in a web browser. I gonna refresh. You see this is blue, so I forgot to add enter new line. I gonna add BO right here. Okay, I'm gonna refresh again. Okay, you see this is blue, so this is we're gonna create array in PHP. So the next step is I'm gonna show you about objects. So I'm gonna create class. I call class is car, something like that. Then I'm gonna create a variable of string. So I'm gonna say public car color equal to red right here. I need to add $sign, and then I'm gonna create object. So I'm gonna create object that I'm gonna add $sign, and then color of car, something like that. So equal to new car right here, and then I'm gonna echo this car is, I'm gonna add $sign color of car, and then I'm gonna add car color right here. So right now I'm gonna go to web browser, and then I'm gonna output. So this is red, this car is red, so I'm gonna add this is okay. Sorry, so I need to add BO right here. I'm gonna go to web browser, then I'm gonna refresh. So this guy is red. So right now I'm gonna show you about null. So in PHP, null is empty value that no data. So I'm gonna show you $sign number equal to null. So I'm gonna echo $sign number right here. I need to add BR. So I got to go to web browser, then I'm gonna refresh again. So null mean nothing. We're gonna print nothing. This is we call null in PHP. So right now I'm gonna show you about resources. So I'm gonna explain you about resources in PHP. So PHP we use resources mean you for database, file, APIs. So we don't create manually in PHP. So PHP they created resources itself. So that's why we call resources of data type. Okay guys, in this moment I gonna show you about operator. So we have three. The first is arithmetic operators, and the second is comparison operators, and the third is logical operators. So I'm gonna explain you about each of them. So the first one that I'm gonna show you is arithmetic operators used to do math calculation. For example, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus. So I will give you an example to understand. So this is example. I'm gonna create a variable a equal to 5 and b equal to 3. So I'm gonna echo this variable in web browser. So I'm gonna say echo $sign b a plus b. Okay, then I'm gonna echo this is we call BR to enter a new line, something like that. So right now I'm gonna show you in a web browser. Okay, then I'm gonna refresh. You see, this is 8. So I'm gonna zoom in. Okay, this is plus. So this is we call addition. So a plus b, 5 plus 3 equal to 8. Then I'm gonna show you another echo $sign a minus b. Then I'm gonna echo BR. Right here. So right now I'm gonna show you in a web browser. Right here, 2, 5 minus 3, so it equals to 2. Then this is the subtraction. Right here. Then another example. So a multiply means star. This is we call multiplication. So I'm gonna show you in the web browser, then I'm gonna refresh. 15. So 5 multiply 3 equal to 15. Then I'm gonna show you more. This is divided by, so a divided by b equal to 1.6. So this is division. Right here. And then I'm gonna show you more. Division and modulus. Division, sorry. Okay, and then this is modular. So modular mean A modular B. A modular B, sorry. This is right here. Then I'm gonna refresh in my browser. Okay. Modular mean we're gonna divide it by number and then it remains the number. So this is the remain after we divide it by the B, something like that. So I hope you understand about all of this. It is simple. And the second that I'm going to show you is comparison operators. You to compare two value. For example, equal. This is equal mean we compare only value, and then strict equal mean we compare value plus pi, and the next is not equal. So it is opposite of this. So and this is also the same as this, but it's compared with value and pi, and this greater than, and this lesser than, and this greater or equal to, and this less or equal to, something like that. So I give you an example. So I'm gonna create a variable of string and a variable of integer. So I'm gonna say $, and then x equal to 10, and then $sign y equal to 10, but this is string. So next I'm gonna create a var them to show a boolean if true or false. So I can say var them, then I'm gonna output x equal to y, something like that. So then I'm going to show you in a web browser. So this is true because value it is the same 10 and 10. It's not compared with data type. It's compare only value, something like that. So then I can show you more. So this is strict equal. So we compare two value and data type. So this is for. Because it's the same value, but data type is different. So this is integer and this is string. So I'm going to show you in a web browser. Right here, you see? For. So I need to echo B or then I'm going to copy this right here, and this is true. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh. Okay, and then I'm gonna show you more. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna paste this. And then I'm gonna show you not equal. Not equal. So x not equal. It is false. So I'm gonna show you in the web browser. Right here, you see. And then I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna paste this. So this is not equal. It compared to value and data type. So value the same, but data type is different. So it is false. So it is say true, something like that. So I'm gonna show you in a web browser. Right here, true. And then I'm gonna show you more. I'm gonna copy this, paste, and then greater than. So I'm gonna say x greater than 2, so it is true. So I'm gonna refresh in web browser. You see true, and then I'm gonna copy this. X less than 2, true or false. So x is 10 and less than 2, so it is false. So I'm gonna show you. Okay, false. And then I'm gonna copy this. So greater than or equal to. So this is we're gonna say greater than or equal to. Mean 10 greater than or equal to 2. So this is true. So I'm gonna show you in web browser. Okay, you see true means greater than. And then I'm gonna show you more. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna paste less than or equal to 20. So this is true, or this is true. So I'm gonna show you in a web browser. Yeah, okay, you see true, because 10 is less than 20, something like that. So I'm gonna copy this. Then I'm gonna show you. Okay, everything gonna be alright. So we give each of them for example. So I hope you understand about this operator. We have arithmetic operators and comparison operators. So right now, the last thing that I'm going to show you is logical operators used to combine conditions. So the first is logical and, both must be true. And the second is or. So or mean one condition is enough. So we don't care about any condition. If condition is true, so the whole code is true, something like that. And then not. Logical not mean reverse the value, mean reverse the previous value. If that value false, so we're gonna add not, it is true, it is show true, something like that. So I will give you an example. So right now I can create a variable of integer and a variable of boolean. So I can say $8 equal to 20, and then another variable hash id, something like that, hash id. Okay, and then true. Okay. Then I need to compare. This is n. Logical and. So I'm gonna say if 8 greater than or equal to 18 and hash id then I'm gonna echo you are adult. I need to add bo. Okay, so I will show you in a browser. So I'm gonna refresh. Okay, this is true because age is about 18 or equal to 18, but 20 is about 18. And then hash id is true, so this is true, so it output this you are adult. Then I'm gonna show you about logical or something like that. If age less 18 less than 18 or hash id or not hash id, then I'm gonna echo you are not adult. I need to add VR. Okay. So I'm gonna show you in a web browser. So I'm gonna refresh. So you see in web browser it shows nothing because it is false. Right here age less than 18, but age is 20, so it is false. And then or has ID, not has ID, but ID is true, but this is false, so it is not output in a web browser. But if I delete this, it will show you are not adult in a web browser. So I'm gonna refresh. You see, you are not adult, something like that. So I hope you understand about this. And the next example for you is logical not. So I'm gonna create a variable called is adult equal to false. Then I can say if not adult is not adult, something like that. Adult. Oh, sorry, this is $sign is not adult. Is adult is false, but I put exclamatory mark and then it is reverse the previous, so it is true. So I'm gonna echo something that say you are adult, and can enter. Okay, so I will show you in my browser. Okay, so you are adult and can enter. So this is false, but I put exclamatory mark in previous, so it shows true. So it echoes this block of code. But if I delete this exclamatory mark, it shows nothing. So I'm gonna refresh in my browser. Okay, you see, it shows nothing about logical not. So I hope you understand about all of this logical. We have arithmetic operators and comparison operators and logical operators. Okay guys, in this moment I'm gonna show you about conditional statements. So conditional statement we use to check a condition true or false and run different code depending on result. So we have two way in creating a conditional statement. The first is if, and the second is switch. So I will give you an example of the conditional statement. So I'm gonna start with if, and elif. So I will give you an example. So I'm gonna create a variable age equal to 18. Then I'm gonna compare. So if $sign age equal greater or equal to 18, then I'm gonna echo you are adult and can enter this place. Then I'm gonna add BR right here. So this is I compare with if statement right here. So I'm gonna show you in a web browser, then I'm gonna refresh. You see, you are adult and can enter display if. But if I say you are age greater than 18, so it will show nothing in web browser. You see, it shows nothing because it is false. So false cannot output in a web browser, mean to show nothing. So I'm gonna add equal to sign to show in a web browser like this. So then I'm gonna give you example of if and else statement. So I gonna change 18 to 15. So I can say if $8 greater than or equal to 18, then I can say echo, you can enter this display right here. Okay, then I can say L. So I gonna echo, you cannot enter this place. Okay, right here. So if 8 greater than or equal to 18, it will output this. But in the previous variable, it is 15, so it is 4, so it not output this line of code. And then L, it will output this line of code. You cannot enter display. So I will show you in a web browser. You see, you cannot enter display right here. Okay, so I gonna close this. Okay, then I gotta show you about else statement. I gonna copy this, then I gonna paste this, then I gonna comment this line of code right here. Okay, this is, I can say else statement. So right now I gonna change variable. This is I call score. 80. So I can say 80, and then I gonna delete this. So I can say if score is score greater than or equal to 19, then I gonna output echo, your score is your grade is A. Then I can add BR. So I can add statement. I can say if $score greater or equal to 18, then I can say echo, I gonna copy this line of code right here, B, and then I gonna add more if score greater or equal to 7, then I gonna add this line of code, C. So, and then I gonna say I can copy this, I gonna say you are fail. So in variable we have score ht, so then this is not true, so it will not output this line of code, and score greater or equal to 8, so it will output this, and this not true, and this not true, so it will output. So we run code from the top to bottom and the right to left, so top to bottom. So the compiler will output or generate this line of code. So the result is you your grade is B. So I will show you in a web browser. So you see your grade is B. Okay. So this is called if, else, and else if statement. So then I'm gonna show you about switch. So we use switch when we compare one variable with many values. It is cleaner than many else if statements. So we use switch instead of else if. So I will give you an example to understand about this. So I gonna create a variable that called is day equal to Tuesday. Tuesday right here, variable of string, and then I gonna say switch. Then I gonna add condition statement. So I can say day. So then I can add curly braces. Then I can say case. This is Monday. This is Monday. And then I can echo today is Monday. Then I can add break. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna copy this. Okay, then I can add. Okay, I can edit. So Monday, Tuesday, then I can add Tuesday. And this is, I can say Friday. I can add Friday. And this is Sunday. And this is Sunday. And then I can add more case. I gonna add more default. Then I gonna echo invalid day, something like that. So variable of string is Tuesday, so it will pick any of them. So it is true Tuesday, so it will generate this. So I will show you an example. Okay. So maybe I say something wrong. Day, Tuesday. And oh, sorry, I add so this is my fault. So I gonna refresh again. Okay, so today is Tuesday. So this is switch that we gonna do in conditional statement. So this is all for this topic. So I hope you understand about all of this. All right, everyone. So in this moment, I'm gonna show you about loop. So loop is used to execute a block of code many times until the condition is formed. So I have three loops I'm gonna show you. So the first is for loop. We use for loop when we know how many times to repeat, and the second is while loop. So we use while loop when we don't know how many times but have a condition. And the third is for each loop. So we're gonna use for each loop only for arrays. It loops through each value in array automatically. So I will give you an example of this. So I'm gonna create for loop. I can add condition $i start from 1, and then I'm gonna say $i less than or equal to 6. And then I can say $i plus plus means increase 1. So this is semicolon, not column. And then I gonna echo I'm gonna echo I. So then I'm gonna add dot. Dot mean concatenated, mean connect from number with a string. So this is string. I'm gonna add br to enter a new line, something like that. Dot mean concatenated. So right now loop start from 1, then it execute until 6. So after it goes to 7, it stop because 7 is false, because I start from 1 and then to 6. And then when it reach to 7, it stop because it is false, something like that. So I'm gonna show you in the web browser. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the next step is I'm gonna show you about while loop. So while loop we use one, we don't know how many times, but we have a condition to execute. So right now I'm gonna comment this, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna add while loop while. Okay, then I'm gonna create a variable that I'm gonna say j equal to 1. This is a condition, the condition, so I can say j less than 6 or equal to 6, less than or equal to 6. Then I'm gonna echo j. I'm gonna echo j. Then I'm gonna add br right here. Then I'm gonna increase 1, so it increase 1. So I can say $j plus plus. If I say minor, it is decrease, but I say plus plus, it increase 1. Something like that. So semicolon right here. So j equal to 1 and in condition, so loop run from 1 to 6, and then when it reach to 7, it stop because it failed. So it failed, it return, mean it stopped the loop. So I'm gonna show you in the web browser. So I'm gonna refresh. Okay, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. If I add 10, so it will execute 10 times. So from 1 to 10. I'm gonna show you. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10. Okay, so I hope you understand about this loop, for loop, while loop. And the next step is I'm going to show you about for each loop. So we use for each loop only for arrays. It loops through each value in array automatically. Mean when we gonna output array, then we're gonna use for each loop. So I'm gonna show you an example. So I'm gonna create array. So I'm gonna create variable that name is student. Student equal to array of string. So I'm gonna say my name Phanit. This is John. This is Alex, and this is Dara, something like that. So then I'm gonna loop. So I'm gonna loop. I can say for each loop, for each right here. Then I'm gonna add variable that is student. Student variable array. It is student as name. I can say something like that. Then I can echo the sign name dot. I'm gonna add br, something like that. Okay, so for each student is array of string as name. So it will pass data from student to name. So I'm gonna output name. That name is instance of student. So it will show each value in array of students. So I'm gonna show you in a web browser. You see Phanit, John, Alex, Dara, something like that. So this is we gonna create for each loop. So I hope you understand about all of this. Hello, welcome back. So this moment I'm gonna show you about a function. So a function is a block of code that performs a specific task. We can reuse it many times instead of writing the same code again. So in PHP, we have two functions. The first is created function, and the second is built-in function. So right now, let's talk about created function. So I have three created functions that I'm gonna show you is function with no param, and the second is function with param, and the third is function with return value. So I'm going to show you an example of this. So I'm going to create a function. The first is function no param. So I can say function then I can place a name. I can say hello function. Okay, this is no param. Then I gonna create echo that output in the web browser. So I gonna say hello. This is PHP, something like that. So I need to add BR right here. So then I gonna call a function to output in the web browser. This is I just created function, then I gonna call that function to output in the web browser, to show in the web browser, something like that. So I can say hello. Okay, then I gonna refresh in the web browser. You see, hello, this is PHP. So this is a function that has no parameters. And another example is I'm gonna show you a function. So this is a function without param right here. Then I'm gonna create another function. So then I'm gonna copy this function. Then I'm gonna paste. So I'm gonna name it name function, something like that, just for example. So this is with param. So I can add another is name inside a braces. And then I'm gonna say hello. Then I'm gonna add name inside here, and then I'm gonna delete this. Then I'm gonna call a function to output in the web browser. Then I can say name function. Then I'm gonna add a param. I'm gonna pass that data, a string, into curly braces right here to output in the web browser. That is we gonna output, or we gonna execute this code. So I gonna name that param is Phanit, my name, and then I gonna copy. And they're gonna kind of paste, and then I can change another call John, something like that. So this is we call function with parameters. Okay, so right now I'm gonna go to web browser, then I'm gonna refresh. You see, hello Phanit. So I'm gonna add BR right here. Okay, then I'm gonna refresh again. You see, hello Phanit, hello John. So right now I'm gonna show you about function with return value. So I'm gonna create a function, then I'm gonna name number right here, number. Okay, then I gonna add param in curly braces, inside curly braces. So I can say A and B. Then I gonna add return. This is we call return function. So it will say $sign A plus B. So then I gonna call a function. So I gonna say result. I gonna create a variable that contain a function. So equal to number, then 10 and 30. So I gonna pass that data from outside a function to a function that contain a variable or integer inside curly braces. So it will return a value that say 10 plus 30. So it equal to 40. For example like that. So I'm gonna echo, then I'm gonna echo result right here. Okay. So I need to add a BO. Okay, right. So right now I'm gonna go to web browser, then I'm gonna refresh. You see 40. So A plus B equal to 40. 10 plus 30. This is we call return value. This is we can say function with return value. So right now I gotta show you about built-in function in PHP. So built-in functions are already created by PHP. We just use them. We don't need to write code. So I have give you an example. I give you 5 examples. So the first is str_len. So this function is count string length, and this is we can say str to uppercase. The function is convert to uppercase, and the third is str to lower. This is we can convert to lowercase. And this date function, so get date and time, and this count function count array elements. So I'm gonna show you an example of each. So we have many built-in functions. I don't remember all of them. Just for you understand, just give you 5 examples of each. So I'm gonna give you an example. So the first example is str_len. So I'm gonna say echo. Then I can say str_len, something like that function. Okay. Then I gonna say hello, mean I need to function to calculate the length of these words. So it is 5. So this is we call len function. So right now I'm going to show you in a web browser, but I need to add a BO. So I can say BO right here. Okay. Then I'm going to go to web browser. Then I'm going to refresh to see 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right now I'm going to show you more about str uppercase, mean convert to uppercase. So right now I'm gonna copy this. So I'm gonna change that str to upper. Okay. Then I'm gonna echo, so it will show all the words in hello into uppercase. So I'm gonna show you in the web browser. You see hello, this is uppercase, and the next is, so I'm gonna copy this. This is uppercase function. Then I'm gonna copy this. Okay, then I'm gonna show you an example of str to lowercase. So right now I'm gonna say this is hello, and then I'm gonna change that function into lowercase. Okay, then I'm gonna show you in a web browser. You see hello, so this is lowercase. Okay, alright, and I'm gonna copy this lowercase. Okay, then I'm gonna copy this. So the next function that I can show you is date. So right now I'm gonna print current date. So this is, I can say, a year, then month and day. Year, month and day. So I can copy this. Okay, I can write date function. Okay, then I'm gonna show you in a browser. So it will, it will echo the current date. I don't know current date it is. So it is 2026. This is month, so February and 19. Okay, and the next that I'm gonna show you is count function. I'm gonna copy this. Okay, this is count function. So count function means we count array elements. So right now I'm gonna delete this. Then I'm gonna create variable that say student equal to array of string. So I say John, my name Phanit, and data. This is array of string. Then I gonna echo count function. So this is echo, and then I say count. Then I gonna copy student variable of string into this inside a curly braces. So this is we call count function. So it will output 1, 2, 3. So 3, it will show in the web browser. Okay, 1, 2, 3, because we have 3 elements. So there's many built-in functions that you're gonna learn more. Again, you're gonna search in web browser or Chrome. So many. So I don't remember all. Just for example, or for you to understand only 5 these examples. Alright everyone, so welcome back. So right now I'm gonna show you about array. So array is a variable that can store multiple values in one place. So I have 3 ways to explain you. The first is index array, the second is associative array, and the third multi-dimensional array. So I'm gonna start with index array. So index array it uses numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that as keys. So I'm gonna give you an example. So I'm gonna create a variable that can store fruit. So then I'm gonna create array of strings. So this is apple. This is apple, and the second is banana. Okay, banana, something like that. Then I'm gonna create another orange. Okay, then I'm gonna echo fruit. So I'm gonna add a bo right here. Okay, then I'm gonna place this 0. So this is index of array. So array start from 0, 1, and 2. This is we call index. I'm gonna output apple, but if you gonna output banana, you're gonna add 1. So I'm gonna show you in a web browser. You see banana. So I give you an example of for loop. So I'm gonna delete this. Then I'm gonna create for loop. So I'm gonna say I start from 0, I less than, then I'm gonna count array element. So this is $ fruit. Then $ I gonna increase 1, so plus I plus. Then I gonna echo fruit. I gonna add fruit $I. Then I gonna add string to add bo right here. Okay, so right now I start from 0 and then I less than count of fruits, so less than 3, so 1, 2, 3. So it loop start from 0, 1, and 2. When it reaches 3, it stops because it failed. It is opposite of condition. So condition is less than 3. So when the loop it reaches 3, it stops immediately. This is because for loop. So right now I'm gonna output fruit index of 0, apple, index of 1, banana, and index of 2, orange. I'm gonna show you in a web browser. So it will output 3 elements in a web browser. You see apple, banana, orange. So I hope you understand about this. So right now I'm gonna go to associative array. Associative array uses custom key string instead of numbers. So in that array, it uses numbers. And then associative array, it uses strings. So I'm gonna show you in example. So then I'm gonna create variable of user equal to, then this is array. Then I'm gonna say name. Then I can say my name is Phanit right here. Okay. Then this is email. So phanit@gmail.com. And another is 8. So 22, something like that. So this is we call associative array. So right now I'm gonna access that data into a web browser. So I'm gonna echo, then I'm gonna add $user. This is name. This is name. Then I'm gonna add more. This is okay. Sorry. And dot means concatenated. And then this is user and name and then age. So I'm gonna output age right here. Okay, then I'm gonna add bo. Okay, so it will output name, my name Phanit, and then age is 22. So right now I'm gonna show you in a web browser. Okay, you see Phanit age. This is we call index sorry, this is we call associative array. All right, so I'm gonna continue to multi-dimensional array. So multi-dimensional array is an array inside another array. So I have two ways to explain you. The first is two-dimensional array, and the second is associative multi-dimensional array. So I'm gonna give you an example. So right now I'm gonna create a variable that is called student. So student, I'm gonna create array, and then another array inside array. So this is, I call my name Phanit right here, age 20, and developer. Okay, then I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna pay, then I'm gonna change. This is data 25, and his job is designer, and this is security. So his age is 30, name is John, something like that, for example, so it doesn't matter. Okay, all right, so right now I'm gonna access that data from array into web browser. So I'm gonna echo and $sign student. So I'm gonna echo this line of code. This is index 1, so 0, 1, 2. So I can output index 1, and in index 1 we have another array is we can access that data three index, so index 0, 1, and 2. So right now I'm gonna output index 0. I gotta output data. So I can say if I place 0. So in web browser it will show data. You see data right here. Okay. So this is we call two-dimensional array. So the next step is I'm gonna show you about associative multi-dimensional array. So I'm gonna create a variable. I'm gonna create a variable of employee equal to array, then another array right here. So this is name. My name is Phanit. So I gonna space a little bit, and this is 8. So 22, and this is I can say salary. Salary right here. Salary right here. Okay, salary 1,000, maybe a lot. Then I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna pay this. Then I'm gonna change. Not change this. I can change this. I can say data. His age is 25. Maybe his salary is bigger than mine, so 5,000. And John, his age is 30, and his salary is 2,000, something like that, just for example. Okay, right now I'm gonna echo that associative array. So I can say echo. Then this is employee. Then I'm gonna output the first line is index 0, and another is index 0. So index 0 we have another array that index 0, 1, 2. Index 0 is name, so I can output name right here, name. Okay. Okay, then I gonna add VO. Okay, so index 0 is the first line of array and another array is index 0 of name. So it will output my name is Phanit. So I can show you in a web browser. You see, Phanit. So if I gonna output salary, I can say salary, then it will show 1000. You see, right here. This is we call associative multi-dimensional array. And then I'm gonna show you about another example about how to output that data into a loop. I'm gonna loop through that data into a web browser. So I'm gonna delete this. So then I'm gonna create for a loop, and this is employee as MP employee. It represents employee. And then I'm gonna echo this is I'm gonna echo name, so I can say name. I'm gonna add so semicolon, column, and another concatenate is I'm gonna loop M. Then this is salary. Okay, then I'm gonna add dot. I'm gonna add VO right here. Okay, so right now I use for each loop mean to to output all of this, each of this. So 1 2 3, so I'm gonna output 3 elements into a web browser. The first is name and salary. So I'm gonna show you in a web browser. You see Phanit, salary 1000, data salary 5000, John salary 2000. So this is we call associative multi-dimensional array. Okay, welcome back everyone. So in this moment, I'm gonna show you about form and user import. So a form is an HTML element used to collect data from user. Examples of user import such as name, email, password, and so many. PHP receives and processes this data. So after we create a form, so PHP receives that form and process that data and output into a web browser. So I'm gonna show you an example of creating a form, a HTML form. So then this is for example. So I'm gonna write form. So I'm gonna add angle braces and I can say form right here. Then I'm gonna close form. Okay, and inside a form I'm gonna create import right here, text and name equal name placeholder I'm gonna say name. So then I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna paste. Then this is email, and I'm gonna say this email, and this is email. And then I'm gonna change this password and this password, and this I'm gonna say password right here. Okay, then I'm gonna add another is import import right here and type this gonna be submit, and then I can add value. This is register, something like that. So this is form, and then about import form, I'm gonna add this. This is action. Action, I'm gonna create a PHP file that process that data into PHP. So I can say this register.php. So I'm gonna create a PHP form right here. So I'm gonna click this, then I'm gonna create register.php. So when I click submit, then the data processed into register.php right here in this file. So I'm gonna process that data into this. Right now I'm gonna add another method. I'm gonna use post because I'm gonna post that data. So I will explain you the next video about get and post. So right now I'm gonna show you a little bit about how to process that form data and process into PHP, something like that. So right now I'm gonna create a code that process that data, that form. So this is we gonna process PHP. So I'm gonna add a PHP syntax right here. Okay, then I'm gonna close question mark angle braces right here. And then I'm gonna process that data. So then I'm gonna create a variable name equal to this is post. We can say $sign and post. So this is name, and I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna paste. Okay, maybe I'm gonna spell a little bit. Okay, this is email, and this is password right here. So then I'm gonna echo. I'm gonna say welcome. Then I'm gonna add concatenated. Then I'm gonna output data name, something like that. And then I'm gonna echo another that I can say I need add BO right here. And then I'm gonna say email. Then I'm gonna add concatenated dot and $sign email right here. So when I click submit, then the data processed into action register.php. So PHP will catch the data right here, and then output echo mean output in a web browser. So welcome name and email, something like that. So this is the form and processing that data in PHP. So I can show you in a web browser. So right now I gonna add php-i and localhost 8000 right here. Then I'm gonna click this. You see, this is a form from HTML right here. So this is a form, and then I'm gonna put that data into a form. So I can say Phanit, my name, email. Phanit at gmail.com, and password I can say 1 2 3 4 5 6, something like that. Then I'm gonna click register. This is a submit button. So I'm gonna click this. It will process into register.php. So sorry. So you see, oh, okay, maybe something wrong. So identify variable email type email. So I need to check. Sorry. This is gonna be email, and this is gonna be password. So I create wrong variable right here. So right now I gonna click back, then I gonna press again. So I gonna import again my name Phanit right here, and this is gonna be email. I can say like that, and password 1 2 3 4 5, something like that. So I can click register. So you see, welcome Phanit and email Phanit EasyDev@gmail.com. So this is we're gonna say processing form, and this is a form that we're gonna create it in HTML. So that's all for this topic. Okay guys, in this moment I'm gonna show you about get and post. So we use get sends data through HTML, means through query string, characteristics of get. So we use get data is visible in the browser URL, limited data size, not for light data, not secure. User can see data, can be bookmarked and cached. So when we use get, it is not textual for data, so user can query that data and see in the web browser. But in post is different from get, so post sends data in HTML request body, not in URL. So characteristics of post is a data is hidden from URL, no size limit, mean good for light data. Opposite of get, we can scale a small data in a web browser, but post we can post light data. It is good for a light data that you're gonna post in a web browser, and it is more secure than get, and posts cannot be bookmarked easily. So I'm gonna give you an example of these two different between get and post. So right now I can start with get. So right now I gonna create a file is index.html. So I'm gonna create a index.html right here. Then I'm gonna create a form, HTML form. Okay, then I'm gonna create import right here. This is text, and I'm gonna name the import is name, something like that, and I'm gonna add placeholder, enter your name, something like that. We see a whole code right here. So I'm gonna minimize this by browser. Okay, that's okay. Okay, then I can add more. I can add import right here, and then this gonna be submit, and value is send. So when I click send, when I click submit, then it goes to process the data. So this is process.html, and method is get. We use get method. So right now I'm gonna change this index into process.php right here. So I can say process.php. Submit, it's gonna be to process.php. This is receive data and process data and output in a web browser. This file, something like that. So right now I'm gonna create a code that receive data. This is name right here equal to $sign. Then this gonna be get, and this is name, receive name. Data is name right here. And then I'm gonna echo. I'm gonna say hello, something like hello. And then this gonna be $sign, and then I'm gonna output name right here. So right now I'm gonna go to web browser. I'm gonna refresh. You see this is HTML form, and then when I import my name Phanit right here, because this data processed in PHP file right here. This is PHP code that cuts the data and output in a web browser. This is code is output in a web browser. But we use get is not secure. So when I refresh again, I gonna go back and refresh. So I can show you a like whole of browser. Then I gonna query. When I query, it show data, so it is not secure when we use get. So I can say slash, then I can say process slash process.php and question mark name equal to Phanit. Then I can say we read something like that. Then I gonna press enter. You see hello with it. So when you get it is not secure, so users can see data and can use query to search and to update data according to the preference when they want something like that. So right now I gonna minimize this. So this is for using get method, but right now I'm gonna show you about how to use post method. So I'm gonna minimize it. So we use post, sorry, not post. We use post sends data in HTML request body, not in a URL. So characteristics of post. So data is hidden from URL and no size limit mean good for line data. And post is more secure than get method. And the last is cannot be bookmarked easily. So post cannot be bookmarked opposite of we use get method. So I hope you understand about that. So right now I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna create a form in index.html. I'm gonna go this, then I'm gonna change a little bit. So this is I'm gonna change get into post method right here, and then I'm gonna minimize this to show a little bit. And this gonna be I add more import. So import, and this gonna be name. Something like that, just for example, and this gonna be password right here, and this I gonna say name. I gonna put the data into name, so this gonna be password right here, and then place order password, enter your password right here, and this I gonna add BO So I can press in the web browser, you see. Okay, maybe I'm gonna add this also. I'm gonna copy this, paste this. So all right, it's gonna be cleaner than before. So I can change this submit, then I can change this to login, something like that, login. Okay. Okay, then I gonna change. Okay, everything gonna be alright. Then I gonna go to process that data, process.php. Then I gonna create a variable. This is name equal to $sign underscore pause. Then the data is name, and another data is password equal to $sign pause. This gonna be password. Right here. Then I'm gonna say name and concatenated. I'm gonna output name right here. Then I'm gonna add PR to space a little bit. Okay, so the double quote right here. Then I'm gonna copy this, enter new line. Then I can change the password. This gonna be password. Okay, everything gonna be all right. So right now I go to web browser, then I gonna enter my name. Enter my name Phanit right here, and then password 1 2 3 4 5, something like that. So when I click login, it submit and process into PHP. PHP process receive that data and process that data. I click right here, you see name Phanit and password. So that post method is processed in HTTP body. It's not going to URL. So when I query, it cannot see that data. So I give you an example. When I query this, you see, undefined array key name. So we cannot query in a web browser in URL in using a post method. It is different from get method. So I hope you understand about this method. Okay, all right. So this is for example for you to understand about get method and post method. Hello everyone, welcome back. So this moment I'm gonna show you about file handling. File handling allows PHP to read a file, write a file, append data to a file, delete a file. So PHP file functions contain fopen mean open a file, fread mean read a file, fwrite mean write a file, fclose mean close a file. File underscore get underscore contents mean read entire file easily. And the next is file underscore put underscore contents mean write file easily. And the last is unlink function mean delete a file. So right now I'm gonna give you an example to understand about file handling. So I'm gonna go to project structure, and then I'm gonna create a file that say data.txt. So I'm gonna write something. So hello, this is file handling. Welcome to my channel right here, just for example. So then I'm gonna create a variable. This is example for file reading. File reading. And then I gonna create a variable that say file right here equal to f open. Then I gonna open a file that name data.txt, and I gonna say all mean read file. Then I gonna create another variable file size, so I gonna say size equal to file. This is $sign, sorry, right? File size right here. And then I gonna add data file dot txt. Okay, then I gonna close. I can say close. When we open a file, we're gonna close. So I gonna copy that file right here inside a process. This is open and this is close. So all right, so then I gonna create a variable that read entire file that say content equal to read means read a file. Then I gonna pass file variable right here, file, then file size. So this is size right here. I gonna open a file and then I gonna close, and then I gonna create a variable that store file size. That file is data.txt, and content variable that contain a read means read a file. This is file right here, and this file size. So right now I gonna go to web browser, then I gonna refresh, so it will show entire data in data.txt file, something like that. So I gonna refresh. Okay, something wrong. I gonna check. So okay, I see. So I forgot to echo a file. The echo a data from a file. So I can say echo right here, and then I gonna echo a content, like content data, something like that. So right now I go to web browser, then I gonna refresh again. You see, hello, this is file handling. So yeah, okay. This is data in data.txt. It output in a web browser, something like that. Yeah, this is data from data.txt file and output in a web browser because we gonna read a file. So this is a long code, but if you gonna create a sort of code, I gonna delete this. I gonna delete all of this, then I gonna create a very sort of code that do the same, that read the same as the previous code. So I gonna create a variable that say content right here, and I gonna copy this. This is a very sort of code right here. Then this is data.txt. I gonna read this file right here. Okay, then I gonna echo, and then I gonna copy this variable that store read file right here. Then I gonna replace in a web browser. You see, it is the same. Yeah, the same. So right here, then I gonna back right here. Then I gonna replace. You see, the same. This is the same. So right now I gonna comment this line of code, and I gonna give you an example for writing a file, So then I gonna create a variable that say file equal to fopen right here, and then we're gonna say the same data .txt, and this is we gonna write. O mean read and W mean write, something like that. So W mean we're gonna override, equal to override, mean delete a file, and then we're gonna create a data that override from the old data, something like that. This is we can say override. Okay, so I gonna minimize this, and then I gonna create I gonna write. I gonna gonna write, gonna update write. So and this is file. Okay, and then I gonna say hello. This is new override data, something like that. And then I gonna close, close something like that. Then I gonna copy this file right here inside braces right here. Then okay, everything gonna be all right. So right now I go to web browser, then I gonna refresh. So it will rewrite a file that say hello, this is new override data. So if we go to old data, it is hello, this is file handling. But if I refresh in a web browser, it gonna change data. So I gonna click refresh. You see, so right now I go to data.txt. You see, this is the new data that we're gonna override from the previous old data. So this is we say write a file in PHP. So this is a very long code, but if you gonna write a short code, you can say dollar sign. Sorry, a file. I can copy this. This is we're gonna write a file right here. Gonna paste this, and then inside it we're gonna say data.txt, and then this we can write a new file, something like that. So when I refresh, it will delete this line of data and generate a new data. So I gonna refresh. Okay, so right now I gonna go to data.txt. So you see, write a new file. So this line of code is the update a data that we're gonna override with a new data. But if you're gonna keep that old data and then you're gonna write a line of code, or you're gonna add some data that contain old data and new data, something like that. So I'm gonna show you the method that gonna add new data without deleting old data, something like that. So I'm gonna close this. Then I'm gonna say, then I'm gonna copy this line of code. Right here, and this I gonna slash and n mean enter a new line. So this I gonna say new data not for override data, something like that. So then I gonna add a comma, and then I gonna say file append right here. Okay, so I gonna minimize. Okay, you see file underscore contents. This is a file that we're gonna write we're gonna update data into the data.txt, and this is the data, the new data that are gonna enter a new line. And file append mean we're gonna write a new file without delete old file, something like that. So I'm gonna refresh into a web browser. That I'm gonna refresh. Okay, right now we go to data.txt. So you see, I refreshed 3 times, so it output 3 lines of code. This is the method that we're gonna update a file, we're gonna write and then add a new file without deleting old data, something like that. So right now I'm gonna show you another example that I'm gonna create a form and then I'm gonna submit data into a web browser. Then I'm gonna click save, so it goes to data.txt, mean I'm gonna save some data into a file. So I'm gonna close this right here, then I gonna zoom in. Okay, so then I'm gonna create a HTML. So I'm gonna say index.html right here. So then I'm gonna create a form. So form right here, and this is gonna be sale.php, something like that. And inside a form, I'm gonna add import tag. Then I'm gonna say name. This is name data, and placeholder. Enter your name. Enter your name right here. So I'm gonna minimize a little bit right here. Then I'm gonna add more import right here. This is email. Type email and name email, and placeholder email. Enter your email right here. Okay, so another import type, I'm gonna say submit. Then value sale. Okay, then everything gonna be fine. Okay, then I'm gonna create I'm gonna change this. This gonna be sale.php, and inside this is we're gonna say method post. This is post, and gonna process that data into sale.php. This is sale.php that we're gonna process that data and save into txt file. Then inside of this, I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna say $name equal $post. Then this gonna be name, another variable that can say email equal to $_post, and then this gonna be email right here. And then I can add a variable that can say data equal to, I can say name right here, and then I can add name right here, name, and the slash, and then I'm gonna add email. This I'm gonna put variable that is email right here, and slash mean we're gonna enter a new line, something like that. Okay, then I'm gonna add this line of code right here. I'm gonna copy this. So this gonna be sale to data. I can say data.txt. and this data. So I gonna save data. I gonna copy this data. Then I gonna paste this. Okay, this is not data. So this is data.txt. Okay, and then I gonna add file append mean we gonna add a new data into data.txt, something like that, semicolon, and then I gonna say echo save successful, something like that. So in a web browser, then I gonna refresh, you see. So I gonna spell a little bit. I gonna add BR right here, BR right here, and I gonna refresh again. Okay, maybe cleaner than before. So right now when I enter information, I say my name Phanit and email Phanit easy.phanit@gmail.com, something like that. Then I gonna click save. So save successful. Then I go to data.txt. It will show new data right here. You see? Okay, welcome back everyone. So in this moment, I'm gonna show you about cookies and session right here. So cookies is a small file stored in the user browser. It is to store data on client side, means store in a browser, while browser uses of cookies. So we use cookies for remembering user login, sell preference, SAM and language, track website visit. Cookies can expire after a specific time, minutes, days, and years. So we use cookie mean to store data on a web browser right here. So I'm gonna show you a full right here. I'm gonna expect, and then store in localhost 8000 right here. So right now I'm gonna create an example for you to understand about how to use cookie. So then I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna create a set cookie right here. Set cookie function, and this gonna be username. Then I say my name Phanit right here, and then I'm gonna set time, because we're gonna set a time that will expire soon. So I'm gonna set a 1 hour expire. So I'm gonna say time function, and then plus 36 3600 this is a second, something like that. So 60 multiply 60 mean 3600, something like that. So this is 1 hour expire. So the data will be deleted after 1 hour, something like that. So this is for example. Then I'm gonna say cookie save successfully right here. Okay, so right now I gonna go to web browser. Then I gonna refresh. You see, cookie save successfully. Then I gonna show you the data that's stored in client side. So I gonna expect right here. Then I go to web application, and then cookie right here. Localhost 8000 right here. So this is the data, username, and my name is Phanit. And it will expire after 1 hour. So this is the data that we're gonna store in the web browser. So I'm gonna minimize this. So I hope you understand about this. Okay, right now I gonna comment all of the lines of code, and then I gonna say echo. I gonna output data from a cookie into a web browser, something like that. So I can say $, cookie. This Angular process, and this is data is a username, something like that. Okay, and then I gonna go to web browser, then I gonna refresh. You see Phanit right here. This is we're gonna echo, we're gonna output into a web browser. So then I gonna comment all of this. Then I gonna show you how to delete a cookies data in a client side. So I gonna say set cookie function right here, and this is gonna be username, and this is gonna be empty string, and I gonna gonna minus time, gonna time out. So I gonna say time function, and then we're gonna say minus 36 0 0. This is delete a time. So I gonna echo cookie has deleted, something like that. So right now I go to web browser, then I gotta refresh. You see cookie has deleted. So right now I gonna minimize, I gonna zoom this, and then I gonna inspect. I gotta go to web application, then localhost 8000. You see there's no data in a cookie in a client side. So I hope you understand about this. So right now I gotta comment all of this. Then I gotta show you about session. So session is used to store data on the server. So session meant to store data on a server, not a client side in a web browser. The server keeps data, and only a session ID is stored in a browser. The session is stored only user ID, means session ID. Users of sessions, user login system, shopping cart, user dashboard, authentication, and session end when browser is closed, session is destroyed, timeout occurs. So I'm gonna give you an example to understand about this. Then I'm gonna give you an example. So I'm gonna say session start right here, and then I'm gonna say $sign session. This gonna be username, and this equal to my name Phanit right here. Then I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna paste this. This gonna be email. I'm gonna change this. Then I'm gonna say echo session data cell. Okay, right here. So right now I'm gonna go to web browser. You see session cell. So when we go to web browser, and we're gonna click inspect application. So in a cookies, we see only PHP session ID. So a session stored in a web browser or a client side only session ID right here. This is the ID of a session. But we don't see the data because session store data in a server side, not a client side. So this is for example for you to understand. So I hope you understand all of this. Okay, and then I'm gonna print that data from a session into a web browser. So right now I'm gonna comment all of this. Then I'm gonna print. So I'm gonna say session start. Session start right here. Then I'm gonna echo. This gonna be underscore session. Then this gonna be username. I print my username right here, Phanit, and I gonna copy this. I gonna paste, and this gonna be email right here. So right now I gonna go to web browser, then I gonna refresh. You see, Phanit and Phanit Gmail. So I gonna echo BR mean to enter new line. I'm gonna refresh again. You see, Phanit. Okay. So this is we gonna do in fetch data. I mean, gonna print data in a web browser. So right now I'm gonna show you how to destroy or how to delete all the data in a session in a server side. So I'm gonna close this. Then I'm gonna say I'm gonna start. So session start. It's the same. And then I'm gonna say session underscore destroy right here. So session start and session destroy mean we're gonna delete all the data in a session. Then I'm gonna echo session data has deleted successfully. Okay, so right now I go to web browser, then I'm gonna refresh. You see, session data has deleted successfully. I'm gonna refresh again, delete successfully. So right now when I fetch or when I set fetch data, it shows nothing because data has deleted successfully. Then I gonna comment this, and then I gonna open this comment, and I gonna refresh. You see, there's no data in the web browser. Right here, you see. So this is all for the cookies and sessions topic. Hello everyone, so welcome back. So in this moment, I'm gonna show you about PHP with MySQL database. So MySQL is a database system used to store data like user, products, posts. PHP connects to MySQL to insert, read, update, and delete data. So right now, I'm gonna show you how to connect with MySQL database. So then I'm gonna create a variable that say username, or this is a server name, empty string, and another is username, string, and another variable is password, empty string, and another variable is database. Connection string. Okay, then I'm gonna create a connection. Then I can create a variable con equal to my actual line connection. Connect right here. Then I'm gonna copy all of this. Okay, right now I'm gonna check. I'm gonna create a code that check connection. Okay, then I can say if not connect. If not connect, then I gonna echo die, and then I can say connection fail. So then I gonna add dot my SQL line connect error. Right here, then I gonna say echo connect success. Okay, alright, so right now I'm gonna go to my actual DB. Then I'm gonna click local instance right here. Then I'm gonna enter my password. Okay, so right now I'm gonna create a database. This I'm gonna say test DB. Right here I'm gonna click apply. Okay, right now we have test DB. So then I'm gonna go to code, and then I'm gonna say this database name test DB. Then I'm gonna put my password. Okay, so and username, this is gonna be localhost, and username I gonna say root because my database is a root user. Then so I go to web browser, then I gonna refresh. Okay, so I need to open a web browser. Right here, so connection success. Okay, and then the next step is I gonna show you how to create a tables into a database. So right now I'm gonna go to my actual line, my actual. So and test DB, I'm gonna create a table that named student. So this gonna be student right here. You test DB. Then I'm gonna create this line of code. Then I'm gonna click execute. So right now I'm gonna go to test DB and I'm gonna click table. You see student. Okay, after I have created table, then I'm gonna insert some data. So right now I'm gonna go to coding right here. And then I'm gonna create a variable actual to insert data equal to insert into student right here, and then this name and this email right here. Then I'm gonna put value value right here, and this username gonna be my name Phanit right here, and then this email, so this gonna be Phanit at Gmail, something like that. Phanit at gmail.com. So I gonna enter new line right here. Okay. So this single quote, right here. Then I can say my actual line and query. Then I gonna paste actual right here. Okay. Okay, this I gonna connect. So this is a con. Then we're gonna paste that query into a function right here. Okay, right now I gonna go to web browser, then I gonna click refresh. Okay, so right now I gonna go to my actual DB, then I gonna click table, then I gonna gonna view, I gonna click select 1000 rows. So you see Phanit, this is username and this is email, so Phanit at gmail.com. Okay, then I'm gonna show you how to fetch data into a web browser. So I'm gonna close all of this. Then I'm gonna add another that I'm gonna say result equal to my actual query. Okay, right here, then I'm gonna add con. And then I'm gonna add select all. Select star means select all from student table right here. Okay, then I'm gonna create a while loop to output a name and email into a web browser. So I gonna say while and this row equal to my actual line fetch also this function, and then I gonna pass that result into a function right here. Then I gonna add echo. This gonna be row and row. This I gonna output a name and dot concatenated. I'm gonna add this right here dot, and this is a row, and this is gonna be email right here dot. Then I'm gonna add BO enter new line. Okay, right here. So right now when I go to web browser and I refresh, it will show data that show name and email. You see, connection success. So I need to add a BO right here. I'm gonna refresh again. You see, Phanit and email. So this is all for connect to my actual from PHP. Okay, welcome back everyone. So in this moment, I'm gonna show you about OP in PHP. So OOP means object-oriented programming. Is a way to structure your code using class objects instead of plain functions and variables. Benefits of OOP: reusable code, easier maintenance, organized real-world logically, modern real-world projects. So in this moment, I can create of a class. So a class means a blueprint for an object. Define properties, variables, and methods. Object, instance of a class, real thing created from a class. So I'm going to show you an example. So right now I'm going to create a class. Then I'm going to name it car. Then this is going to be public. This variable is brand. And another public is color right here. And then I'm gonna create a method. So this is gonna be public function try method. And I'm gonna echo and then dollar sign this color. This is gonna be color. And then I'm gonna enter space, and then this brand right here is driving, something like that. So I need to add BR right here. Okay, right now I have created a class contain a method that is try method, and this a variable of brand and color. So right now this is a class that contain variable and a method. Then I'm gonna create a object. So this is gonna be, I'm gonna name it my car right here equal to new, then this car. This car. So, and then I'm gonna assign. So I can say my car. I'm gonna say object. So this gonna be, I'm gonna say variable. This is gonna be brand equal to Toyota, something like that. And then I'm gonna say a color. So my car color. Sorry, my car. And this gonna be color equal to red, something like that. So in a class we have a variable of brand and color, and public can access in entire class and pass that data into an instance of my car. This is an object that receives property of variable and a method called try method. So then I'm gonna assign a variable of brand is Toyota and color is red, something like that. So then I'm gonna access another method. So this is gonna be my car, and this is gonna be try method right here. So then when I click refresh, it will show this method right here. So it will echo Toyota, the red Toyota is driving. So right now I'm gonna show you in a web browser, then I'm gonna refresh. You see the red Toyota is driving. So this is we're gonna create a class and object. So the next is I'm gonna show you how to create constructor in a class. So constructor is a special method that runs automatically when an object is created, used to initialize properties. So constructor can create in a class, and this gonna be initialize a property. So when we create an object, and then we're gonna access that constructor. So I'm gonna create you an example. So this I'm gonna copy all of this. Then I'm gonna paste right here. Then I'm gonna open this command. So call public color brand, and this a method. And then I'm gonna create a constructor. This gonna be public function, and this double underscore, and this gonna be constructor. Construct right here. Right here, and inside a parent braces, I'm gonna say brand. I'm gonna pass that property of brand and color right here, and then I'm gonna define this. So I'm gonna say $sign this brand equal to brand, and this color equal to color. So this $sign, so this brand equal to brand outside a class that we're gonna assign letter and color as the same. So, and then this is this is a method that I'm gonna create inside a class. So then I'm gonna create an object. I'm gonna say my car, something like that, equal to new. Then this gonna be car, a class that I'm gonna call back right here, and inside parent braces I'm gonna say this gonna be brand. So I'm gonna say Honda, and this gonna be color, so red, something like that. And then I'm gonna echo my car, and then I'm gonna output this line of code, this method. This gonna be dry method. Right here, so I'm gonna pass that Honda and red, and then to constructor, and then constructor will pass that data to this echo that inside a method of try method right here. And then right now I go to white browser, then I gonna refresh. You see the red Honda is driving. So this is we call a constructor that we're gonna create inside class. Okay, and this moment I'm gonna show you about inheritance. So inheritance allows a class to inherit properties and methods from another class. Parent class original class, child class inherit from parent. So I'm gonna show you an example. I'm gonna create a class. So this is gonna be a class. Then this is gonna be vehicle. Vehicle, something like that. So this is gonna be E, vehicle. So inside a class, I'm gonna create a variable that is a brand. I'm gonna say public, and this is gonna be brand. This is a variable, and then I'm gonna create a method, public function, and this I'm gonna call home right here. Then I'm gonna echo. Then I'm gonna say beef, something like that, and this I'm gonna add BO right here. So this is a parent class. So then I'm gonna create inheritance, that I'm gonna create a class that inherit from a parent. So this I'm gonna call a car, so I'm gonna say class car. Then inheritance, I'm gonna say extend right here. Extend, this is gonna be vehicle right here. So extend mean inherit from vehicle, this class. This is a parent class and this is the child class. So then I'm gonna create another variable, gonna call it color. And then inside a child class, I'm gonna create a method, another method that's gonna be public function, and I'm gonna call try method. Okay, right here, then I'm gonna echo. This gonna be this color right here, and dollar sign, and I'm gonna say this gonna be brand is driving. After I create a parent class and a child class, then I'm gonna create a object. So I'm gonna call that object, this gonna be my car. Then equal to new, and this car right here. So I'm gonna add capital line. So this C, capital line right here, car. And then I'm gonna say, I'm gonna create a property or variable that is brand and color. So I'm gonna say my car. I'm gonna say this gonna be brand. This gonna be brand right here, equal to the Ford, something like that, Ford. And this my car, I'm gonna create this gonna be color. Then I'm gonna create color of red, something like that, just for example. And then I'm gonna echo, so I'm gonna access that method from a parent class and child class. So this is gonna be dollar sign my car. Then this method, so this is gonna be home. So home method right here. So this I'm gonna delete W, beef, something like that, home. So I gonna add the K, home, something like that. And then another method from child class. So I can say my car, and this gonna be a try method right here. So right now when I refresh in a web browser, it's gonna show beef, and another method gonna be this my car, gonna be print out of this line of code. So right now I'm gonna show you in web browser. So you see beef and the red Ford is driving, sorry. Right here, I'm gonna refresh again. You see. So in this moment, I'm gonna show you about encapsulation. So encapsulation means hiding the internal details of a class and controlling access with public, private, protected, and private. So public means accessible everywhere, and protected accessible in class plus child, and private accessible only in a class. So in this example, I'm going to show you about private and public. So protected and private mean similar, the same. Usually we use private instead of protected, but public we use everywhere. We always use public. So right now I'm going to show you an example of encapsulation. Then I'm going to create a class. And then I'm gonna name bank account. Then I can create variable or protect. This is gonna be private. I can say private. Normally we use public, but public can access everywhere in a class and object, but protected only access in a class. So this is gonna be balance equal to 0. Then I'm gonna create a method that's gonna be public. So public we can access everywhere. So in a class, in a object, something like that. So public and this function, this method gonna be deposit, and I gonna pass that amount, variable of amount, and I can say this balance plus equal to amount. This is gonna be $sign and amount, something like that. So this line of code, I can say other this balance equal to balance plus amount, something like that. This balance. So these two lines of code are the same, but I always use this instead of this. So I cannot delete this. So we can use either way. Okay, so then I gonna create a object that I gonna call this gonna be account. Sorry, this account equal to new bank account right here. And then I can say account. I gonna access that deposit method. And inside a method deposit, this is gonna be a variable of integer. So I gonna say that integer. So this is gonna be 100, something like that. So then I gonna echo. So I'm gonna echo account, and this gonna be in a class. I'm gonna create another method. You can say public. This is gonna be public function right here. Then I'm gonna name get balance, something like that. Get balance. Then I'm gonna return. This is a return function, and I can say this balance, something like that. So we're gonna return balance. So initialize 0, and then we're gonna plus amount. So the first balance is 0. Then I gonna add 100 inside a method or deposit. Then it will pass through this, and then I gonna call get method get balance, and it will output a 100 in the web browser, something like that. So I'm gonna echo account and then this method right here. So this is gonna be get method get balance, something like that. So I can explain you a little bit more. So I can create a private. So this is a keyword of private, that private is gonna be encapsulation. We have a private, protected, and public. So I'm gonna create private and public. So private can access in a class, so outside class we cannot access, but public, so we can access property and method everywhere. So this gonna be balance 0, and I'm gonna create a deposit method that inside a method I'm gonna put amount that is a variable outside of uh, a class. Then I'm gonna pass that 100 right here. Then it will pass amount, and this is gonna be balance plus amount. So 0 plus 100 equal to 100, something like that. And then I'm gonna output. I'm gonna create a method that return value. So this balance. So we return this method right here. So right now I'm gonna go to web browser. Then I'm gonna refresh to show you. You see 100, something like that. All right, so in this moment, I'm going to show you about polymorphism. So polymorphism means the same method name, but behave differently depending on the object. So it is the same method, but it is different meaning. So I'm going to show you about how to create polymorphism. So I'm going to create a class. Then this is going to be animal class, and then I'm gonna create method that's gonna be public function, and I'm gonna call it sound right here. Then I'm gonna echo this, gonna be general method right here, general method. Then I'm gonna add br. General method of animal, and this is a parent class. Then I'm gonna create a child class. So I'm gonna say class right here, and this gonna be dog. Then extend animal class, and then I'm gonna create a method that is public function. Then this gonna be sound. So I'm gonna create a method the same name right here, sound. Then I'm gonna echo. So this gonna be woof woof. Woof woof. This is dog, woof woof. Then this gonna be br. Okay, and then I'm gonna create a child class that name cat. So this is gonna be class, and this cat. Then I'm gonna extend parent class. This is gonna be animal, and I'm gonna create a method that is the same name, so sound right here, function sound. Then I'm gonna echo. This gonna be meow meow right here. Okay, maybe meow meow, something like that right here. You see in the parent class the method that names sound, and the child class the method gonna be sound, and the next child class is sound. Mean we have the same name of method, sound. Then I'm gonna call that method. Then I'm gonna I'm gonna create an object of dog and cat. This I'm gonna create dog, something like the object of dog. Then this is gonna be new dog right here, and cat. This is gonna be new cat right here, and then I'm gonna echo, or I can say I'm gonna output dog right here, and method sound. And the next is I can output cat and method gonna be sound right here. So a method is different meaning according to a different class. So we have a two child class. The first class is dog and the second class is cat. But the meaning of a method is different. So dog, we have sound method that have different meaning and the same as the cat. When I go to web browser, then I gonna refresh, it will show different method. You see, woof woof and meow meow. So this is we call polymorphism. Polymorphism mean the same method name right here, the same method name, but we have differently depending on the object right here. You see. So we're gonna create a two child class, and then we're gonna override the parent method. Then we're gonna override here and there. So this is different meaning of a method.